From Soccer Park, a USL Championship match with playoff implications. One team looks to bounce back from a midweek defeat, while the other looks to extend an unbeaten streak. St. Louis FC hosts Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Today's matchup is brought to you by the Cheshire Inn and LHM Hotel. I'm Alex Dono alongside Manchester United legend, former goalkeeper Gary Bailey. Now, Gary, when you look at the standings and see 4 teams fighting for 2 playoff spots in the Eastern Conference, you can see why victory tonight would be precious for St. Louis. Oh, it's massive, massive. Only 2 more games to go. And as you say, a victory means they're virtually safe. They're in the playoffs, they can relax. But defeat here tonight, and the likes of Birmingham Legion and Charleston Battery start getting results, and it's going to go into that final match for St. Louis. And that's where you don't want to be, having to rely on points. And they're going to be away at North Carolina. Not an easy place to go to. Would be a play-in if the season ended today for St. Louis. Let's get to our player to watch tonight. That's brought to you by the Cheshire Inn and LHM Hotel as we take a look at St. Louis FC's playmaker, Lewis Hilton. Oh, he was fantastic last match out against Loudoun. Yes, they did lose 4-3, but he scored 2 goals. A beautiful free kick in the 35th minute, stuck it in the top corner, and then a shot in the box to give them a 3-2 lead in the 67th minute. And he must have thought that he'd won it for them at 3-2, but they went down and eventually lost 4-3 in the dying moments. Here are the defensive keys to the game presented by Fortinet. If we have a look firstly at St. Louis, make defense a priority. 4 goals conceded last match, can't have that again. And for Pittsburgh, they've conceded in both their last 2 matches before that, Alex, 7 clean sheets. They have to get back to winning ways and clean sheets. Starting lineups in kickoff is coming up. St. Louis FC hosts Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC next.
This year we developed Ale d'Or, which is a beer brewed exclusively for the St. Louis Football Club. We've been partners with STLC for coming up on 3 years now. St. Louis Football Club got some Schlafly, call out our Luligan friends on the side. You'll be able to find Ale d'Or obviously out at Soccer Park and then at your local grocery in and around St. Louis, so we're really excited to get it out there in the market. We're excited to debut it in 16-ounce cans for the upcoming season.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to the electricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org. When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to the electricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
This match presented by the Cheshire Inn. St. Louis FC hosting Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Let's take a look at our starting lineup presented by Schlafly.
St. Louis, a massive number of changes. It seems that Anthony Pulis has had enough of the bad results. 6 changes. Jake Finlayson in goals for Thomas Gomez. Camden Feo for Sam Fink. Paris G for Matt Boehner. Guy Ben for Oscar Umar. Caleb Calvert for Kyle Gregg. And Russell Cicerone for Master Cachet.
Let's take a look at Pittsburgh.
Just the 2 changes there. Bob Liddy must be very happy with his team, and no reason why he shouldn't be. They've been in fantastic form, so still 3 at the back. Thomas Pratzner coming in for Van Keierziel, and in midfield Robbie Mertz for Mohamed Dobo. So 2 changes there, but a wonderful and informed Pittsburgh Riverhounds side.
A 9-game unbeaten streak for Pittsburgh. A lot at stake here for St. Louis, and I know Pittsburgh would love to stay top of that table and lock down home field advantage.
They certainly would, and I mean, they've been fantastic. You go back about 4 or 5 weeks ago, they were sitting 5th and 6th. It's just been a stunning run of games, as you say, as Bob Lilly watches on. It's been 7 matches, I think, before the last 2 without even conceding a goal. It's been a phenomenal run, and they deserve a huge amount of credit, and that's why he's been named September's Coach of the Month.
Yeah, tremendous. Very humble about it when we spoke to him on the conference call earlier this week. And of course, for St. Louis FC, you think about how important a result would be tonight for the home side. Has suffered a very tough midweek defeat, Gary, at Loudoun United. Conceded a goal right at the death. Thought they were coming away with 1 point. Turned out they came away with nothing.
Yeah, it was a tough one. That man there, Lewis Hilton, was absolutely brilliant. 2 goals. He thought he'd put them in the lead to win 3-2. And look, credit Loudoun, they played well on the night, but devastating for St. Louis, and they desperately need a result here this evening.
Lewis Hilton gets us started. St. Louis FC against Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Up the pitch for St. Louis, and of course, what we'll see from Pittsburgh, I'm sure, throughout the night, Gary, how hard they are to break down defensively. I mean, a team that's plus 26 in goal differential this season. Very difficult to break down their defense.
It's one of the worst teams to play for St. Louis because they are so good. They played Lou City at home last match and lost their first loss for a long, long time at home, St. Louis, but that was a tough match. This is a tough match, and their final game is North Carolina away, so it's not going to be easy for St. Louis to make the playoffs.
Well, home has been a fortress for St. Louis, and perhaps we're already seeing some of that intensity. Maybe saw a little bit too much of that against Loudoun United because it made their defense a little vulnerable. I know their head coach, Anthony Pulis, was not too happy about the 4 goals conceded on the road, but certainly a team that needs to come away with 3 points tonight to feel a little bit more secure in their playoff standings.
Yeah, well, they would like to get the job done tonight. I don't think they want to go to the final match having to get points. And they've got a wonderful support here at home. The St. Louligans are incredible. So I think that is what Anthony Pulis was hoping to rely on here this evening.
What a great supporter section is out wide, looking for the cross. Finds its way into the box, but handled by St. Louis FC. And there's the clearance. Fighting for it, chesting it down. We'll see if the attack can get going here for St. Louis FC. Anthony Pulisic's team would love to start out fast here today. So you see the coach looking on. Felt very good, Gary, about his attacking performance on Wednesday at Loudoun United. Usually scoring 3 goals on the road is good enough to get the job done.
Yeah, he said exactly that. Yeah, they're very, and they were good. Lewis Hilton was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. And Tyler Blackwood got the other goal, and that should almost always be enough. But the other side of it, his defense, he said he couldn't explain it. It was just such a bad performance. Sam Fink, for me, one of the most solid players. I don't even know if he's missed a game all season. Dropped here this evening on the bench. Just wasn't the Sam Fink we've seen earlier in the season, and I think that's why there's 6 changes. The manager's rattling a few cages and saying, you've got to get back to winning ways.
You mentioned the change in goal as well, with Fenlinson getting the goal tonight in favor of Tomas Gomez.
Yeah, and both those goalkeepers have been sort of swapping back and forth. It was Fenderson who started the season, as the free kick's given there.
First whistle of the game, free kick in favor of St. Louis.
Fenderson started the season, Thomas Gomez managed to get in, and now Fenderson gets a chance again. Yeah, it is I'll tell you what, the studs are up. We're lucky not to get a yellow card there.
Free kick for Pittsburgh. Correction on that is the Riverhounds will look to start fast here. Forbes will take. 3 minutes into the match. See if Pittsburgh can get the fast start they were looking for. Delivery goes back to the keeper, Fenlinson.
A few bodies going to ground in the box, but referee's not going to give anything if he can't see an actual trip. These days, you have to be very, very careful in the box with what you do and where you put your hands, especially as VAR is becoming more and more common. And the referees are able to, at the top level, to go and check out VAR. As a defender, you've got to watch who you grab and what you pull these days.
Remember, Pittsburgh did get their goal midweek on a penalty, as offside flag will go up there. Nico Brett trying to get going. Nico Brett scored the PK on Tuesday night against Atlanta United 2. That game ended in a 1-1 draw.
He scored a few goals this season, 13 and 29. That is a phenomenal
Unbelievable.
return. And along with Duba, Steven Dos Santos up front, they have bagged a whole bunch of goals, which is why I think St. Louis will probably play a very cagey defensive match here tonight. So much at stake here. It's not really about how they play. I don't think Anthony Pulis cares how they play, as long as he gets the result.
All about that result is free kick now in Pittsburgh's defensive half coming up. And yeah, getting a result, that's right, Gary. I mean, this is a team that had a little bit of hard luck despite playing very well in the attacking department midweek. How big even 1 point against Loudoun United would have been to concede that goal late. Certainly lights a fire now under St. Louis FC.
Does. And yeah, it was a tough day at the office, but they were very lucky that Birmingham lost as well. Could have been a lot worse if they'd have won. Charleston Battery didn't play. They still have that match in hand against Loudoun. So it's so very, very close for St. Louis. I think for Pittsburgh, it's do they have the desire St. Louis have? One thing you know, that team in white are going to give absolutely everything here tonight. If Pittsburgh want to beat them, I get the feeling they're going to have to match their intensity.
Absolutely. Wouldn't Bob Lilly love 3 points on the road? You see the attack now continue for St. Louis. Trying to work in Pittsburgh's half. Setting it back to the defense, back to Fenlison now. See if they can build from the back, Gary.
Yeah, and it's also an opportunity for players like Fenlison, like Paris G. Sean Meadows coming in as a centre-back. Cicerone starting, he was on the bench last match. A number of players, Caleb Calbert up front, they've got a chance to say, hey, you know, boss, pick me more in future. Russell Cicerone is such a wonderfully talented player. He needs to show it now tonight.
Cicerone has that spark, the speed that he has, sometimes can move in a different gear from the opposition. Playing it back to the near sideline. Delivery inside was deflected by Pittsburgh. Now they'll take ball downfield. We'll see if Pittsburgh can chase it down. Kept in bounds. Now a delivery. Handled there by St. Louis. Clearance to come.
Wasn't the best defending there by Bradley Camden-Feo. He sort of left the ball lying around in the box. Lucky a white shirt was first to get to it.
Well, they had something going there, but Pittsburgh was able to get a foot on that one. Now down the far sideline, Pittsburgh SC goes. Riverhounds, though, dispossessed there by St. Louis. Playing it back to the far sideline now. Deflection there, but controlled. Alex Dono alongside Manchester United legend, former goalkeeper Gary Bailey, with the call on this one. St. Louis FC at home. Final home game of the season for them. It's Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC.
It's tough for their fans, but as you say, no matter what happens, this is the final game. They can't get high enough in the playoffs to have any other games at home. So a chance for the St. Louligans to give it one final sing-song tonight and try and haul their team over the finish line into that playoff position.
And they are always bringing it strong. You'll hear that singing carry on throughout the night.
It's in stark contrast to early in the season, Alex, when they were playing so well and they had that fantastic cup run and they were beating MLS teams like Chicago Fire here, and they were playing well in the USL as well. And then I think it just took so much out of them. They suddenly had a bad spell, and now their future in the playoffs is hanging by a thin line, a thin thread, and it's going to take a big effort here tonight to get them over that finish line.
Big delivery, couldn't find the header though, dealt with for the moment by Pittsburgh. Maybe dodging a bullet there as see St. Louis getting aggressive. Certainly that US Open Cup run, it's so good to get the attention, to beat MLS teams. It's always a hard thing, Gary, to manage the squad through 2 different competitions and maybe to take a hit in the USL Championship. But at the end of the day, I don't think St. Louis has any regrets with the run they had.
Well, maybe. I don't know. If you talk to Anthony Pulis, he might say otherwise. Because yes, you got to the quarterfinals, but you get knocked out. So
right.
You got no silverware to show for it. What you got is a lot of tired legs, tired minds, players whose focus was elsewhere. And he just battled to get them back to focusing on USL Championship. And if they don't make the playoffs, then I think St. Luligans and Anthony Pulis and all the players will tell you that maybe next time they don't want that cup run. It's hurt them badly this season.
Could be a dangerous attack here. Sent inside to Nico Brett. Can Nico Brett take it down? He'll look to put it back down inside with a delivery. Always have to worry when you see Nico Brett tearing down the sideline with that speed of his. Still control there by Pittsburgh. Could we see a shot from the edge of the area? Defended nicely there. Good shape being held by St. Louis. Now backing down the defense. It's going to be a free kick going for St. Louis now.
Yeah, some poor control there by Jordan Dover. He had the ball, he tried to use his body to shield it, and it got nicked off his toes, and then he gives away the foul. Pittsburgh just showing you how well they can control the ball. They had it. It's very difficult for St. Louis to get it off them until now.
There's an interception at midfield now. Dangerous on that sideline. Nico Brett, will he look to shoot? Well defended, though. That's going to go back for a corner kick. This corner kick is brought to you by Electro Savings.
Nico Brett, what a good player. 13 goals in 29. That's a wonderful return for any striker.
It's great for Pittsburgh being such a sound defensive-minded team to also have goal scorers like Nico Brett. Complements the squad so well.
And he's 27. I mean, he's still got a number of years in which he can keep producing.
Forbes will take the corner for Pittsburgh. A little high, that delivery, headed away by St. Louis. And a clearance. Crisis averted for the moment, but we'll have a Pittsburgh throw in the defensive half.
That was just a boot clear, wasn't it? There was nobody was aiming for, it was just get the ball out. Look, there's those wonderful fans again in the background.
Unbelievable. They're certainly ready for playoffs, and 3 points tonight would virtually clinch that.
It would. One still leaves the door open, though, with a lot of work to do, so 3 would definitely be the big prize.
Gonna switch field now is St. Louis. St. Louis FC looking to bounce back from a tough midweek loss on the road, but home is where the heart is, and great support from the Luligans. Just sent a ball down to the near sideline. That'll be a throw-in for St. Louis. Never easy to break down Bob Lilly's defense.
I think huge credit to him. Their run they've had in the last 2 months has been absolutely phenomenal. And to take a team from 5th or 6th all the way up to the top deserves massive credit to Bob and to his entire squad. But having said that, they still want to end up top. You'd be annoyed if you're Bob Lilly if they let it go now in the final 2 matches. Because they've got 2 difficult away games against St. Louis, who is trying to make the playoffs, and I think it's Birmingham Legion is the other one, who are also trying to make the playoffs. You don't want to let it slip now if you are Pittsburgh and end up in 2nd or 3rd.
See St. Louis wearing pink numbers and names on the back of their shirts for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Heard from a lot of survivors throughout the week there, St. Louis FC supporters. So nice to see that support. It's a free kick coming now. Big opportunity here. Could be Hilton to take this one. He'll back off. Love to get a head or a boot on this. Delivery to the far post is dealt with by Pittsburgh. St. Louis still has bodies out front. There's a little bit of a wild shot on goal, goes wide to the right.
That was a clever strike in many ways. Yeah, he's trying to lob it over the top there. And Carl Morton sees it coming, and he's scrambling to get back there. Have a look, they deal with it defensively well. Pittsburgh comes out. Lewis Hilton's fighting for it there. And then it's Kadeem Dakers who doesn't shoot. He tries to flick it over the keeper there. Great awareness. Yeah, not too far off. Kyle Morton stretching at the end.
Would have been a highlight reel strike if that one found the top corner.
Absolutely, would have been.
Playing it back. That one stayed in, says the linesman. Calling for a free kick there, and they will get it. So another set piece coming up. They'll take it quickly, though.
Lewis Hilton tried to take it quickly, and they blocked him, which he's saying should result in some action from the referee, and the referee's having a word. They're so good from set pieces, St. Louis, especially with Lewis Hilton on the ball. Let's see what they can do.
Looks like Feo will take this one, or perhaps Hilton. Will be Hilton that approaches. No, now it's Feo. Saucy delivery, but headed away. Back to the far side. Making a move. Looking for a cross. Does find the inside. Another one, but that goes wide of the net. Starting to see that pressure, Gary, now from St. Louis. They're smelling a potential opening goal.
They certainly are, and they really want to get it. Russell Cicerone's in there looking for something from the set piece. A couple of the big boys are up. Kavita's there. I want to see if they can get on the end of this.
Corner kick coming up by Electro Savings. Lewis Hilton will take. Hilton taking a deep breath. The delivery is looping, but to the keeper.
Good hands there from Kyle Morton, nice and strong, plucks it out the air and takes away all the pressure. Now everybody from Pittsburgh can get up the field, get in good positions and wait for the goalkeeper to knock it long.
Well, trying to intercept there with St. Louis, but a long ball indeed dealt with there by the heads of St. Louis FC. They'll build from the back now, but a long ball going to the near sideline, does find a mark, intercepted there, dispossessed by Pittsburgh. That one will go back to Fenlinson. Fenlinson also wearing the pink name and number on the back of his goalkeeping jersey, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Into the 17th minute now.
And he'll be looking to have a good game. I think he was really upset to have lost his place. He played well early in the season.
Yeah.
Thomas Gomez came in for some of the cup matches and was absolutely brilliant. I don't think Jake did too much wrong. He'll be looking to have a good game tonight and see if he can hold on to his position going into the playoffs.
Certainly I default to the expert goalkeeping diagnosis from Gary Bailey, former Manchester United keeper. What does it do to the psyche to be off the pitch for a while and then to be reinserted? Fenlinson certainly looking for a chance to really show that maybe it was a mistake to put him down in the first place.
Yeah, it's a tough one because as a goalkeeper, unlike any other position, you're either in or out. And when you're out, you sit on the sidelines. If you play other positions, like say you're a forward, you can come on as a substitute. They can play you on the left or the right. They can move you around. As a goalkeeper, as only one person can have it, which means the others can't. But when you do get the chance, you desperately want to show the manager that you are the man for the job. So no doubt that's what Jake is hoping to do here this evening.
Big opportunity for Jake. Still scoreless, 18th minute. St. Louis FC, Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Long throw by St. Louis. Looking to open up their attack once again. Dispossessed though. Pittsburgh plays it to midfield. See how Forbes and company in that midfield get going. Real box-to-box player. With a switch off to the left side. Alex Dono alongside Manchester United legend, former goalkeeper Gary Bailey, with you in tonight's action, USL Championship Soccer. Important for playoff implications here. St. Louis FC, final home game of the season, looking to hold on to a playoff position. Currently 9th place, while Pittsburgh Riverhounds atop the table. Long ball played there from keeper to keeper.
We're talking about St. Louis needing a result here tonight and trying to avoid having to go away to North Carolina to get something. Obviously depends a lot on what Charleston Battery do, but their last 3 matches all at home are Loudon, Memphis and Bethlehem Steel. Now it's possible they can get points in each of those matches.
Yeah.
That means Charleston Battery could work their way up the table very, very quickly. Birmingham Legion have 2 home matches, but they're not easy. It's New York Red Bulls 2, and then Pittsburgh, this very same Pittsburgh, go to Birmingham Legion. So nothing is guaranteed here for St. Louis. Maybe they'll get through without having to get another point. Having said that, maybe they'll need as much as 3 to get through. So I'm sure they don't want to take any chances. They want to get something here tonight.
Certainly won't be easy. Pittsburgh playing 5 at the back. Always solid defensively. Here we go to the far sideline. Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC holding on to possession.
You can see St. Louis don't do the high press very often. They're sitting deep. They're just letting Pittsburgh have the ball. Right now they might do a little bit of a press, see if they can get something out of it. And then they'll drop off again the white shirts. It's only when you come into their half that they really start to close you down.
And always a dangerous team on the counterattack. That's something Pittsburgh coach Bob Lilly talked about throughout the week. Was very complimentary. I also found it interesting that when we talked to Bob Levy about his own team, or Bob Lilly, I should say, about his own team, brought up how difficult they are to break down, how solid defensively. And when we asked Anthony Pullis the same question about Pittsburgh, really echoed those remarks. I mean, the assessments of Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC were virtually identical from coach to coach.
Yeah, they are very similar teams as the fans look on, hoping for something to happen for their home side. But Anthony Pulis' team, very similar to Bob Lilly's. The difference for me is that Pittsburgh score way more goals, and that allows them to pick up a lot more points. Players on the pitch at the moment, if you add all the St. Louis players together, they've scored 22 goals. Add all the Pittsburgh players, have scored 44, double the number of goals.
Wow.
And DeSantos up front, Duber and Nico Brett and Canado Forbes, Robbie Mertz, they've all scored a lot of goals. That's what makes Pittsburgh so special.
Good interplay. Brett with the delivery. Couldn't find a recipient there. That was a dangerous attack. It can come from a second's notice from Pittsburgh. Opportunity to shot from outside the box, but wide to the left.
Yep. Canado Forbes just off target ever so slightly, but you're right. They keep looking for opportunities all the time.
Fans become one of us. Season tickets for 2020 are on sale now. There's nothing like an evening at the soccer park. Reserve your seats now.
You see it's a different type of pressing. Pittsburgh have a high press. They've got their players right on the edge of the box, forcing Jake Fenderson to have a long kick upfield.
Fenderson's kick goes to the far sideline. St. Louis thought they had control, but out of bounds now for throw. Which way are they going to go? Looks like a St. Louis throw.
Trying to get used to them in the white shirts with the pink numbers. I'm so used to the green and blue.
Right.
Got to keep double focusing to make sure I'm looking at the right St. Louis.
Well, it's a very clean kit.
It is a clean kit, and it's a wonderful gesture towards, you said it was breast cancer, did you?
Yes, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the month of October, and showing their respect for that, for the survivors and those dealing with those challenges.
Great credit to St. Louis. Lovely to see their support.
Pittsburgh, of course, wearing the traditional yellow and black. I love how all the teams from Pittsburgh, no matter the sport, share the same colors. It's kind of a good show of citywide unity.
Works well for them. They're sitting top of the
Certainly
Eastern
does.
Conference.
Well, that's going to be a trip. Free kick coming for Pittsburgh.
Robbie Mertz brought it down there. Caleb Calvert doing the work, trying to sort of nick the ball off and counter-attack football that St. Louis are known for. They get the ball a few, then quickly rush players forward, see if they can cause you problems, and once they lose the ball, they just drop off and try and preserve their energy.
Certainly fun to watch when the counterattack is working. I mean, growing up myself, Gary, watching a lot of Italian soccer, the catenaccio, they call it. It's fun to see those attacks built from the back. At least it is for me. Here comes the cross. Oh, dangerous delivery. Sent out for a corner kick. This corner kick is brought to you by Electro Savings.
Duba was in the middle. He was waiting for that ball to get through, and it nearly, so nearly, got to the big number 8. Stephen DeSantos, Duba, from Cape Verde Islands off the coast of Africa. Bob Lilly just watching on and must be happy with his team so far. They've looked quite comfortable in possession.
Yeah, certainly not a big home field disadvantage for Pittsburgh so far.
Referee separating players as they have to do it normally, virtually every free kick in every corner these days.
Certainly take advantage if they can. Here's the delivery, right to the head, and oh my goodness, what a defensive stop. Wow, that was incredible as St. Louis avoids conceding the opener. Tremendous opportunity there, Gary, from Pittsburgh. Nearly had the opening goal of the match.
It's almost a free header. Conrado Forbes with the ball in, gets up and gets the header in there, and it's Joe Greenspan with the header. I mean, how'd you get a free header inside the box and Lewis sleeping for a moment there?
Unbelievable. So avoiding the opening goal there, avoiding giving it up with St. Louis. Here comes another delivery. That one headed away. Still danger outside the box, but a free kick coming for St. Louis. Nearly had the opening goal of this match.
Well, some good defending on the line there by St. Louis, but to allow a free header, and Big Joe Greenspan gets up, puts the header virtually on target, and they're scrambling to get rid of the ball. Lucky for St. Louis.
Certainly. Right place, right time at that far post.
Guy Bend, he's had a few injuries in his time. A man from Israel, 2 knee surgeries in 2015, and he's recovered really well from those knee surgeries, but missed him for a fair portion of this season, St. Louis, and I think he's a player that they're only too happy to have back in their starting 11.
The long free kick by Fenlison. Headed back by Pittsburgh. We go for a St. Louis throw. St. Louis going long with the throw, trying to start the attack again, but dealt with by Riverhounds. Now attacking from the midfield, far sideline, thinking about a cross. There's the delivery, but that one headed back to Fenlison.
Offside given there, some nice intricate interplay from Pittsburgh. That's why they're so hard to defend against. They move the ball quickly, one-touch football. Offside on that occasion, but already they've been showing us all that they are able to score goals. And again, Joe Greenspan will think that maybe he could have done better with that free header inside the box, or maybe we just give him credit for getting on the end of it and say that he came close.
Certainly seen the momentum shifting in Pittsburgh's favor over the past 5 minutes or so as they'll get the throw after the Fenlison free kick went out of bounds.
It's a difficult one for Anthony Pulis, because in the last match against Loudon, every time they seem to push forward St. Louis, they conceded a goal. Every time. Exaggerating just a touch, but...
What happened too much for Pulis' liking, that's for
absolutely,
sure.
And I think he's saying to them, just stay tight, stay compact. You know what, maybe last 10 minutes we can open up, but until then, let's give nothing away, and let's just try and get a 1-0 victory. That'll do them.
Back to the keeper now. This time St. Louis is putting pressure, forcing the long kick. Pittsburgh again in the offensive half. Out wide, the switch of play. There's the delivery, nicely finding a Pittsburgh boot. Another cross, that one headed away in a hurry. That's going to be a free kick for St. Louis.
Yeah, the big man, Duba, clashing with the defenders. He's saying he got hit, but he was the one coming in to try and get on the end of the ball. The ball put in by Nico Brett.
Yeah, Dos Santos not going to get that call very often, but he is pleading his case.
Bring someone on to have a look at him. So he's saying he got hit. You have to see it again to be able to. It all happen very, very quickly. It's never easy to figure out who takes what hit.
He's certainly got a fat lip for his trouble. Appears to be bleeding from the mouth.
Yeah, a little bit of blood on the mouth there.
Take a look at the replay, Gary.
And he's saying it's an elbow in his face. Oh, maybe. I think it's Bradley Camden Feo there who jumped with the elbow up.
It's a forearm at the very least that did make contact.
So maybe he has a point. Problem is, though, if you give it against the defender, it has to be a penalty. And
yeah,
in that situation, it looks close to being a 50-50. Both of them were jumping. It's an unlucky clash of elbow with mouth. You can see the Duba's not happy. And you're right, he's going to have a big fat lip tomorrow.
He may need some ice for that. It's going to be a free kick for St. Louis. The pleas were not heard as far as trying to get a penalty out of that situation.
And I don't think Bradley Camden-Feo meant anything by it. He came back and apologized straight away, and he was shrugging his shoulders saying, I just jumped for the ball, we collided, and you know, I'm sorry it happened, but there was no malice in it. And the free kick, funny enough, is given the other way. So yeah. I think it's only added to Duba's frustration.
This one finds a St. Louis head, but see if they can formulate an attack this time again. Dispossessed there by Pittsburgh. They've been in control the last several minutes of this match. Booted upfield, but out of bounds by St. Louis. Pittsburgh throw coming. Still getting treatment for that lip.
Yeah, some running repairs there. He's a big, strong man. He'll be back on soon enough, and no doubt he will throw his head into the next high cross. And
I was going to say, only more motivated now to find that opening goal. Again, dispossessed. You really see that midfield now for Pittsburgh working overtime. Part of the reason why they're tough to break down. So often, Gary, we're quick to give credit to the defense, the five-man unit that Pittsburgh runs, but so much of controlling that match comes from the midfield, and Forbes and company do a great job of that.
They certainly do, and what seems to help them is that Ryan James on the left and Jordan Dover on the right, the wing-backs, they push up and they almost add to the midfield. So they leave three at the back, and they add numbers in midfield, and they're able to dominate so well, Pittsburgh. And of course, they're good players.
Right. It's three at the back when you're attacking, five at the back when you're defending. So as a result, it can be a tiring night at the office for those wingbacks.
Very much so. But if they can get up and down, which they seem to be able to do, then they help you dominate the match. Duba still getting a little bit of treatment on that lip. I'm sure Bob Lilly wants to get him on as quickly as possible, because right now they're playing with just the 10 men, Pittsburgh.
See if St. Louis can take advantage. Hilton. Always see Hilton involved. Bagged a brace in the midweek match. As you mentioned, Gary, really had to be a tough one for Hilton to see his team, you know, drop points in that one. Ended up losing that match on a goal at the death when he played so well. Had the unbelievable free kick goal. Added another great night at the office for Hilton.
Certainly was, and when he got them to 3-2 ahead with, what, 30 minutes left, he must have thought that he'd done enough to at least get a point, or maybe all three. Devastating for them. 93rd minute, the winner for Loudon.
Unbelievable effort as you see bodies fighting for that ball. St. Louis looking for a delivery. It looked like that ball went out of bounds, and yeah, there's the whistle. Going to be Pittsburgh throw coming up. Just ran out of real estate.
There he is, the big man. You're not going to scare him off the pitch that easily.
So back to their full strength, 11 on the pitch again for Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC.
And I'm keen to see the next 50-50 between Duba and Bradley Camden-Feo. I'm not saying anything untoward will happen. I'm just saying I'm just curious to see whether there is a clash or not.
Certainly so. That one will be dealt with by Fenlinson. They'll have to pick it up as you saw. There's Dos Santos. Still a little bit fired up, Gary, about the hit that he took earlier as he nearly collided there with Fenlinson.
What Fenlinson was getting so uptight about, he waited for the ball, allowing and almost offering Duba the opportunity to get in there, and that's what Duba did. So much ado about nothing, but I think it started more by the goalkeeper than anybody else. Gets the free kick.
Gives the thumbs up to the referee. Seems to have sorted it out. Looks like another deep delivery coming.
Like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on these little clashes. I think there's plenty more to come in this match. And
you see Duba is fired up and aggressive. He's
fired up, and St. Louis are fired up. Every man is fired up there because they desperately need these points. So there could be lots more activity between the players, is the nicest way to describe it.
Well, no problem with intensity given what's at stake for both teams. Of course, for St. Louis, fighting to preserve their playoff lives. A lot of open real estate on that right side. Here's a dangerous cross, but that one handed down by the keeper.
Again, Kyle Morton comes again. Very good hands, very assured. Goalkeeping, just plucks that ball out of the air, kills the attack stone dead, and then he's able to slow everything down and get his players down the pitch. Good goalkeeping.
Not been called into duty too much, but when it comes to getting in the way of some of those set pieces and crosses, he's been excellent tonight.
Certainly has, and that's something that St. Louis should pick up and not knock the balls into his hands quite as easily.
Oh, here we go. Partial breakaway. The keeper is beat, but he crosses it right back to Morton. Cicerone, the opportunity there, couldn't make the most of it.
Commentator's curse, isn't it? I'm just praising Carl Morton, what a wonderful goalkeeper is and crosses, and with that he comes flying off his line, misses the ball, nearly gets picked off there, but manages to recover and grab it on the second time of asking. But goalkeeper didn't need to be out there, doesn't need to cause that sort of confusion.
Cicerone just didn't have the angle to do much more with that, but played it softly back to Morton. The crisis averted there for Pittsburgh. St. Louis would love to get that opening goal here at home.
The thing is, they don't mind how they get it, whether it's a goalkeeping error or deflection, or they just desperately want these 3 points and be able to relax and know that they've made the playoffs. And even if it was to remain like this, 1 point might still not be enough for St. Louis.
Certainly. Pittsburgh may be a little bit happier with 1 point. Not saying they wouldn't want to win this match outright, but the 3 points probably a bigger issue of importance here as that cross is headed away, but still danger here. Another delivery, a couple of dummies, but that one now partially cleared by St. Louis. No one could get a boot on the end of that. Sent back up the pitch, dealt with again in the midfield by Pittsburgh. Still some danger here for St. Louis's defense.
If you didn't know better, you'd think Pittsburgh were the home side. They're dominating possession, they're passing it about, they're relaxed on the ball. They're in command in this match.
Certainly are. Cleared away again, fought for, and Gary, they're winning so many of those 50-50s are Pittsburgh. You look at these headers, they're winning seemingly about 80% of them.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that's why they're top of the table. They compete in every part of the game. They're good going forward. They're good defensively. This is going to be a really hard day for St. Louis, but they just got to hang in there, keep that clean sheet, and hope they're going to get an opportunity later in the match.
St. Louis will get the throw now. See if they can put an attack together. So dangerous on the counter attack. Haven't seen too much of it yet, but he did have some danger moments ago with Cicerone beating Morton. See Bob Lilly, Coach of the Month from September, Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. You'll start to see awards like that when your team goes on an unbeaten run like they've been on.
Absolutely, and if you ignore the last 2 matches, which they haven't lost, but they haven't been able to keep a clean sheet, but the 7 before that, 7 clean sheets. That's defensively is a fantastic performance. 1 clean sheet's always good, 2 or 3 is amazing, but 7 on the trot, phenomenal.
Booted away now back to St. Louis. That one lofted a little bit higher than he would have liked. And Pittsburgh will look to regain control. Very solid in possession, as Gary mentioned. But still, you love to hear the Luligans, the support will never cease. Get so into it. That's why this has been such a great home field for St. Louis. The fans are always at their best.
They are, and it's a wonderful support. Yeah, it can't be easy to be singing and playing drums for a full 90 minutes, but as you say, they do it every single game. They turn up in their numbers. There they are. Look at that.
Looks like fun, doesn't it?
It does. It does. They should be fed free beers for the evening or something for all the effort they put in.
A little bit bundled up. It's getting a little chilly in these parts. In the low 50s now in St. Louis. Going to hit the 40s in a few hours. So you see some braving the weather with the short sleeves, others bundling up here tonight.
Love it. Love the passion, and that's why if you're a neutral, you know that Pittsburgh are through to the playoffs, probably as a top side. I think as a neutral, you're probably hoping that St. Louis join them, just for those fans and for the fact that St. Louis put up such a great cup run earlier in the year that took a lot out of their legs. You know, you would say from a neutral perspective that they deserve to be there, but unfortunately it's not about who deserves what, it's about getting the points in the bag, and tonight they need to get some points.
Nico Brett there with some fancy footwork on the sideline. He recovers once again and sends it to the back. Always got to watch out for Nico Brett with his 13 goals. Did score midweek on a pen. Now high up the pitch to the far right sideline. Kept in by the chest, but wrestling for it. That's going to be a Free kick coming up for St. Louis as Russell Cicerone was wrestled to the ground.
Good pressure there from Duba. Again, look how the yellow and black shirts, they pressurize you, they're forcing you to play, and they've played out of it this time, St. Louis, but it's not easy.
Back now to Fenlison, who sends it now to the far sideline. Good move there to keep in control by St. Louis. Now they've got some numbers. Let's see the delivery. That's going to go out for a corner kick.
This is what they've been playing for, St. Louis, defending for their lives. Tyler Blackwood gets in the corner. Now they push all the bodies up. See if they can get something from this set piece. And then they'll retreat back into that tight defensive unit.
This corner kick brought to you by Electro Savings. Big set piece coming up for St. Louis FC. See Morton standing tall. He's dealt well with these deliveries throughout the night. That one to the near post. Still high up in the air. And a free kick coming for Pittsburgh. Fans not too happy about that one. We're hoping to maybe get a call down in the box, but it's going to go the other way.
It seems that Cicerone's the man picked out as having pushed. Hard to see, and there's so many bodies all going in different directions. Referees got to have eyes in the back of his head to see what's going on there. He's given the decision, and that's a pity because that's a set piece that they haven't had too much going forward, St. Louis, and it's a set piece they would have liked to have got something from, but to try and do it all again.
Certainly so. Entering the later stages of the first half in St. Louis is here comes a counter. That's a big spill. So here comes another free kick for St. Louis FC.
Pittsburgh complaining it was a little bit of a dive there from Kadeem Dakers, I think it was. Let's have a look. Have a look there. Yeah, he's dived. No question about
I'm not
that.
sure about any contact on that one, Gary. He certainly sold it.
Oh, dear. If they score from this, there's going to be a lot of very unhappy Pittsburgh fans. But you haven't got VAR, so you can't go back and double check it.
Here comes that delivery. Nifty header underneath, but couldn't find the goal. We will have a corner kick, though, coming up. So another opportunity for St. Louis as we enter the dying stages of this first half. This corner kick brought to you by Electro Savings.
Bradley Camden failed. Let's see if he can whip this one in. No Lewis Hilton this time.
See if Feo's delivery can provide the opening goal of this match. Towards the far post, headed away by Pittsburgh. Dealt with nicely, but that hard to break down defense of Bob Lilly. Nice move to keep the footing, but eventually lost it on the turf. Didn't lose possession though, but Morton will deal with it.
Yeah, in the end, Lewis Hilton wasn't quite sure he could reach the ball, so he had to hit it nice and quickly, and the accuracy just wasn't there. So the ball and possession lost. At least we've seen St. Louis creating a few problems on the winning corners, and that's a good sign rather for the home team.
Certainly so. They're starting to find their footing, starting to find some more comfort on those counterattacks. It's really been Pittsburgh controlling the face of this soccer game, controlling the pace of it, I should say. And he'll be whistled for offside that time. Flag is up.
Ryan James can see down the line. He shouldn't get caught offside there. You can see where you are. You can see where all the defenders are. You've got to time your run a little bit better. You can see how far forward the wing-back was, and that's his job. He gets forward to add wide play, to become an extra midfielder, even an extra attacker. Now he's got to backtrack and help out with the defensive duties.
Oh, great cardio condition he's in, certainly, to play that role. Fenlison sends it deep, and again, 50-50 ball won by Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They'll switch play. A lot of open space there now to work with. Defense trying to swarm there for St. Louis. Firmly in control, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Try to get through too many bodies there. Get a whistle for a foul.
Yeah, Gaia Ben coming on a little bit late there on Conrado Forbes, and the card's going to come out.
So first booking of the match for a bend.
Yeah. He was late, to be fair. It was good skill from Conrado Forbes. Absolutely brilliant. Have a look. Makes a run, and that is a late tackle. Yeah, that's going to get you in trouble every single time. Ooh, tell you what, when I see it again, he's lucky it's just a yellow.
Yep. That's the first booking of the night, first yellow shown by our referee, John Freeman. Gaia Bend has shown that. He goes to the book.
I don't think there was any nastiness from Bend. You know, he wasn't looking to hurt Conrado Forbes, but he was very, very late.
The result, a big free kick coming up for Pittsburgh. Oh, that one dealt with, headed away. Pittsburgh throw coming up, so not a whole lot of danger on that set piece.
Once again, bodies hitting the ground in the box. Impossible to know who's done what to who, but it's Pittsburgh still with possession.
Entering the late stages now of this first half. Oh, good header one there by Pittsburgh. And what a move there by Nico Brett, but that one gets deflected out for a corner. We're now in stoppage time. Stoppage time is presented by Paycor. Need more time in your business? Contact Paycor to handle your payroll and human resources needs. Deflected away, headed out of the box, but not out of danger yet there by St. Louis. There comes a partial clearance, but back out to the far sideline now. We'll have another corner coming up.
Forbes winning the corner, and it's yet more pressure from Pittsburgh. They really have been impressive. Had St. Louis on the rack here, putting the pressure on throughout this first half, but haven't been able to break down St. Louis as yet.
This corner kick is brought to you by Electro Savings. A little over a minute left in stoppage time. Another throw-in coming for Pittsburgh. Really found their groove here in this first half. Not just a great defensive team, a team that can attack with danger as well. St. Louis will get the throw.
Well battled there from St. Louis, and that's what they're going to have to do. This is a very, very good Pittsburgh Riverhounds side, and St. Louis they just need to fight their way through. Anthony Pulis knows it. They'll be satisfied, 0-0 half-time. He knows they need all 3 points. He's going to have to up the ante somewhat in the second half if he can.
Well, that time Cicerone is fouled, so a free kick coming in the defensive half of St. Louis. Could be one final chance to get an attack together here before we hit halftime.
They haven't had too much, have they? A couple of corners for St. Louis. Other than that, Kyle Morton's had 1 or 2 crosses he's come and taken very comfortably, and one crazy moment where he rushed out of his box. Other than that, they haven't had too much to bother Pittsburgh in defense.
Morton came out of the box. That was the best opportunity that St. Louis has had so far. Now headed away, and that'll do it for the first half. As Gary, we're still scoreless in St. Louis. St. Louis FC, Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Halftime is coming up here, brought to you by Electrical Connection. Alex Dono and Gary Bailey with you. More when we come back.
Junior programs, basically there's two sides of it. There's a rec side and there's a select side, and basically it's for ages 2 to 12.
So you start off by doing a little bit of a warm-up.
It's a developmental, kind of want to introduce the players to the game and kind of all in a fun environment and create a positive experience.
Our staff is first class, our facilities first class, and it's really a first class program.
Our halftime score is brought to you by Electrical Connection, still scoreless between St. Louis FC and Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC from Soccer Park in Fenton, Missouri. Okay, the next time you see an 18-year-old footballer performing at a high level and wonder how they became so talented, look no further than the subject on tonight's edition of Behind the Shield. Chris Gomez takes these young men from the age of 10 and sets them on the path of future success.
How's everyone doing? Good. Good, great to see you guys. How's school going so far? Any good stories? Anything cool happened today at school? Yeah?
I made like a kind of like a fake fossil.
Fake fossil? For science class?
Yeah.
Nice. Cells, okay, with like the nucleus and the membrane and all that stuff. I know a little bit. Really excited to train you guys today. 3v2s to work a little bit on defensive stuff, right? So one guy pressuring, one guy covering, and we're staying nice and compact to protect the middle of the field, okay? Because in our games last week, we were getting really spread out and really exposed up the middle. So we're going to talk about pressure and cover and defending the middle of the field, all right? Anything from you guys? You guys ready to get going? Yeah. All right, let's get after it. We can probably get 2 grids going. Let's get one of 5v2 going, guys, and the other one touch pass is going, all right? Who's in? Last 2 are in. Last 2. We can get it going now. 5v2, get it going. On our toes, sliding side to side, all right? Good habits here. I want to check out how good of soccer players you guys are. When the ball comes over here, make sure we give them a good angle. Good idea, play to feet, Owen's in. On our toes, boys, on our toes here. Where should we have gone? Yeah, give them a better angle. Good, you got it. Back up, Miles, and ready. Good step in, Liam. Way to step in. Draw them in and play around. Good. Slide, slide, slide. Don't stay on your heels. Stay on our toes, boys. Keep sliding side to side. Slide side to side. Yep. Were you trying to go over? Good try, good try. Get your arm bar up nice and big. Okay, protect that ball. Here we go. Go ahead and get started. 3 hooks. Left hook, right hook. Arm up, protect the ball. Hook, hook, hook. Head up, call for it, Owen. Good. Sharp kick out here. Head up. Now, Gavin, you're floating. You're floating over here. Get some space. Get your space. This is a defender. Henry's trying to play forward, so where do you need to be? Up here, all right? That way, after he beats him, he can play forward, all right? Does that make sense? And now I'm getting body fakes. You can go both feet, 1 foot here, touch, all right? And then we're playing forward. So you can do 3, 4, 5 turns with the body fakes, all right? Get your head up and find them. Last thing we're doing, everything you got right here. Last 30 seconds, last 30. Good, and rest. Good stuff, boys, all right? I know that's tiring. Good work, though. Go ahead, get a drink, get a drink.
Whips it in, finds the back post. What a finish!
All these experiences are new, and the new experience is always the most exciting because it's something that you've never been a part of before. And I think that's one of the biggest draws of Greenville is to come in and to be a part of the beginning of something great.
Well, Greenville has officially been awarded a professional soccer team.
There is a big soccer presence in the upstate, and they just needed a team to rally behind. It's like, oh wow, like this is actually, this is real. And I still didn't really grasp how big it was going to be.
Muhammad racing the other way. Cuts it back. Good look. Shot coming. And then Carlos Gomez, his 4th in 2 matches. And does that seal the deal on the 3 points for the Triumph?
A club is more than just the players, coaches, and front office. It's the fans. It's a whole club. We're new. No one really knows what we're about. They don't know, what we have to offer, and showing them that we offer more than just 90 minutes a week, on a Friday or Saturday night, says everything.
He's going to go at goal. Shot and a goal! That has to be on the goal of the week.
Now getting the time. Sam Warner, the beauty.
Goal! Lulu with the bicycle!
Oh, can you see that coming?
Great save by Putton on the goal line.
And Taylor with a beautiful strike. Are you kidding?
Don't forget to visit the concession
Both teams
stand
still
to
looking for
enjoy
the
a
opening goal
homegrown
as our
Missouri
0-0
apple
halftime
today.
score is
Or
presented
purchase
by
online at
Electrical Connection. Alex Dono
That's
alongside
Happy
Gary
Apple
Bailey.
with
As
an
Gary,
S.
let's take a look at the news and notes
Happy
around the
Apple,
USL.
official apple of St. Louis.
Well,
see
battle,
there.
Yeah, battle for the East. There's 8 teams are in, but there's 4 fighting for those last 2 spots. We haven't mentioned Memphis, but they, if all the other results go their way, could still sneak in.
Nice to see USL League One expansion with MLS sides Inter Miami CF and New England Revolution launching new USL League One clubs starting to play next year. So good stuff all around, Gary. Let's take a look at our Eastern standings. Of course, tonight's matchup, a big one with implications, as you see there. Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC now in the live standings, Gary, 2nd place behind Nashville.
They are, if they can hold on to this point, but Pittsburgh looking strong. Let's say they do. St. Louis, they then are 3 points out of Birmingham Legion, who have a game in hand, as do Charleston Battery, also on 40 points. So if they win their games in hand, wow, we go down to the final game of the season. It's going to be sweaty palms and chewing fingernails and all sorts.
Big upcoming schedule, Gary, coming up. Charleston Battery at Loudoun, hosting Loudoun United. Memphis 901 FC. Indy 11 at Swope Park Rangers, and Birmingham Legion FC at New York Red Bulls 2. Which of those games excites you most?
Well, 3 of them all to do with this battle to get into the playoffs. Charleston Battery with 2 games, and if Charleston beat Memphis, that ends Memphis's hopes. If Memphis win, they could still be alive. Birmingham have a tough home match against New York Red Bulls. So those 3 involving Birmingham and Charleston certainly will give us an indication of who's going to be in the playoffs and who's not.
Still scoreless here at halftime, as our 0-0 halftime score is brought to you by Electrical Connection. Our halftime coverage continues. Alex Dono alongside Gary Bailey. We'll be back.
Come on, guys, go!
With the opposite foot, and then when I say make it bigger, it just means get a bigger V.
I think it's really important that they get feedback on what they're doing correctly and what they could do better. Letting them get the repetitions over and over and over again and making sure they're doing it right.
Powerful locked ankle touch with the inside part of your foot.
This is my opportunity to help them get better and teach them. And that's what I spend most of my time during training focused on, is improving that overall technique.
Our halftime score is brought to you by Electrical Connection. Both teams still looking for the opening goal. St. Louis FC hosting Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Gary, let's take a look at our halftime highlights. Tonight's halftime highlights are brought to you in part by Maryville University. Score the winning goal at Maryville with personalized education, nationally ranked academics, and Division II athletics. Learn more at maryville.edu.
This was this effort, this little chip here coming in from Kadeem Dakers, trying to catch Carl Morton off his line. It's a very clever little bit of play. Just tries to chip in there, and it just gets too much bend, but it had the goalkeeper scrambling. That was an early chance, and Pittsburgh, they had a couple of balls in this one. Joe Greenspan gets that header in, and it hits the post in the sort of back of Lewis Hilton's head. But Greenspan with a great header. And maybe if it was another inch or two inside, that would have been in the back of the net. And this was the one where the goalkeeper comes rushing out. Carl Morton gets nowhere, but credit to him. He gets back on track there and gets that little cross coming in from Russell Cicerone. That, I'm thinking, is about it. I'm just wondering if there's any more highlights as Cicerone tries to go around the goalkeeper there. Not too much. That's about it.
That certainly is, and we'll see if we get more scoring chances to come in the second half. We'll kick off the second half when we return. Still 0-0 at Soccer Park. Our halftime score is brought to you by Electrical Connection as we'll get ready to kick off the second half, Gary.
Yeah, it's an important one, this, for St. Louis. For Pittsburgh have done well. In fact, here's an interesting stat. In 33 games so far this season, Pittsburgh have only conceded 8 first-half goals. 8 in 33 games.
Think about that recent run of 7 clean sheets in a row as well, Gary. Such a defensively sound team. St. Louis going to have their work cut out for them.
They are. So they haven't got a goal in the first half, which is not surprising given how well that Pittsburgh can defend. But that's all irrelevant now. It's 45 minutes for this team in white and pink as they support breast cancer to come out and get at least a draw. If they walk out of here 0-0 with a draw, they're a little bit closer to the playoffs, but they're going to want all 3 points. They're probably going to take it nice and careful until towards the end, but he who dares wins.
Any possible halftime adjustments you could see for St. Louis?
I don't know about half-time, unless there's an injury, but certainly in the second half, there's Master Cachet, who I thought played very well against Loudon. He's a good attacking option they can bring on. Kyle Gregg had a few chances against Loudon and maybe struggled at times, but he's a good finisher. So yeah, in terms of going forward, I think there's some changes they are likely to make. They certainly will bring fresh legs on in that second half. They've got Oscar Umar on the bench as well. But right now, unless there's any injuries, it'll probably be the same 11 tasked with trying to break down that resolute Pittsburgh defense.
Ready to get the second half underway. St. Louis FC, Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Both sides getting warmed up. Alex Dono alongside Manchester United legend, former goalkeeper Gary Bailey. A lot of control by Pittsburgh in that first half, Gary. Really sharp, winning a lot of those 50-50s. Had that unbelievable scoring chance off the head of Dos Santos on that set piece.
Yeah, they're a good side. They're absolutely brilliant. Although Coach Bob Lilly did say that he felt they had to improve from their last match against Atlanta too. They said they had a mental hangover from going from 5th to 1st. He said the climb was very, very swift, and they were trying to get their heads around being first. He said he wants them now to really focus on being that good team. And he also said something else interesting for the second half. He said drama levels should be high because St. Louis need the points desperately. Drama levels.
I like that.
Yeah, so we're going to be in treat for a really exciting second half of goals and challenges and commitment, and I'm sure the neutrals hope so. We certainly hope there'll be lots of entertainment in the second half.
Well, if there's ever time for drama levels to be high, it's when you have 3 halves of soccer left to play and you're looking to preserve a playoff position. So Dos Santos going to make the opening kickoff for our second half. We are underway. Big 45-plus minutes left to play. Alex Dono alongside Gary Bailey on the call. The teams have switched ends as Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. The long ball from the keeper there. St. Louis FC. Will we see that halftime, that second half drama we've been discussing? As St. Louis moving quickly towards that throw-in. Cicerone will hand it off. He'll move up the pitch. Dakers with the long throw, but headed away by Pittsburgh. He takes again to switch field. Some real estate open there on that right side. Scoring chances at a premium, Gary, in that first half. We'll see which team opens things up first. They send it back to Fenlison. Change at goalkeeper today. A number of changes that were made by Anthony Pulis for this match.
6 in total, and mostly in defense, because that's where the problems were against Loudon, conceding 4 goals and losing 4-3. Anthony Pulis has shuffled up the pack and allowed these other players to come in and see if they can stake a first-team place.
It's a nice ball to Dakers on the left sideline. He'll look for a centering pass, but that one off the body of the Pittsburgh defense. Throw-in coming for St. Louis. Very vocal. You can hear Anthony Pulis from probably several miles away with the way he's shouting up the pitch to his team.
He's passionate, he's committed, and he desperately wants to get his team into these playoffs.
Certainly so. Playing it back now, but in the half of St. Louis.
Good pressure from Pittsburgh. Look how they force you to play it back.
Tremendous.
Don't give you any space in which to breathe. There you go, closing down immediately.
Nice work by Fenlison to send that one out wide, though. See if they can work it out of the midfield.
Free kick given there for a little bit of nibbling at Guy Ben's feet. Just wonder if they're going to start being slightly more adventurous in the second half, St. Louis.
Wanted to take it a little too quickly for the referee's liking.
They've missed Guy Ben. He's been out from a fair chunk of the season here. Only played 18 games out of the 33. This will be his 19th.
Maybe fresher legs. You know, we spoke earlier about St. Louis's great run through the U.S. Open Cup, but the toll that it took on the legs and the toll that it took on their form.
It's not just the legs, it's the psychology, and you know, you're focused on playing MLS teams, and eventually went out against Atlanta United in the quarterfinals, but you become national news and takes your mind off your proper job, which is making the USL Championship playoffs.
Good defensive play there, but Pittsburgh will get the throw, and they were working it up the near side of the pitch. Keeping possession, well done. Sending it back out wide. Closing down before the cross, but he switches it up. There's the delivery, but it's off a leg. Now here's a chance for a cross. That ball is dangerous, but this time St. Louis doesn't lose the header.
Kevin Kerr with a wonderful ball in. It's just so close to Duba. He tries to get on the end of it, and that's a fantastic cross from Kevin Kerr. And if ever Pittsburgh were going to get a breakthrough, that was a good opportunity for them to do exactly that.
Safe to say the intensity of both sides picking up here in the early stages of the second half. Urgency starting to go up.
Yeah, Pittsburgh matching St. Louis. St. Louis are the desperate ones. Pittsburgh are very firmly in the playoffs, no question about that, of course. They just want to end up top.
Very nice switch of play there to that far side. There comes a delivery. That one a little bit too far wide, but dealt with. Chance at another cross here by Pittsburgh. Good defense, though. It will be a Pittsburgh throw, taken very quickly. Try to head it back to the box. Some contact there outside the box. No whistle blown. Hilton there wasn't happy about that exchange, but corner kick is going to come.
I think he was saying there was some arm and elbow there from Robbie Mertz, but either way, the set piece is given to Pittsburgh, defending for Jake Fenderson and company to do.
This corner kick is brought to you by Electro Savings. Forbes will deliver. Oh, and it's a big one, and there's the opening goal. No, it's offside. We nearly had it, Gary, but the opportunity there not quite met.
I think there was some pushing and shoving going on in the box there. Joe Greenspan again getting a free header, but I think the referee's saying that maybe there was pushing either from him or somebody else.
I didn't see a whole lot there.
It might not be him, it might be somebody else who's been blown up for it, but the free header, you can't have that. Guy Ben was turning and applauding the referee, so something went on that can't quite see, but not given.
So we play on, still scoreless. Another free header, big opportunity for Pittsburgh, and St. Louis not happy. Kavita gets shown the yellow card. Getting a little scrappy there at Soccer Park. Is free kick coming for Pittsburgh. John Freeman goes to the book for the second time here tonight.
Well, we said there'd be drama, and it's happening already. Goal disallowed. I didn't see much in that. He's won the ball. And a yellow card as well.
Harsh.
Very harsh, I think. There's been a lot worse tackles than that haven't been given yellow cards. So now Nathaniel Kavita and Gaia Bend have to tread very, very carefully because they're both on yellows.
Fanuel Kavita wearing that captain's armband. Not happy to get booked, but kept the protest to a minimum. 2 yellow cards shown to St. Louis, as you mentioned, Gary. None yet for Pittsburgh. Oh, there's a shot from outside the area, but nicely done on the block. That volley was looking dangerous. Playing down the sideline, but too far. Goal kick to come for Pittsburgh.
Well, we've had a lot of drama in the last 6 minutes, and Bob Lilly said that's what he would have expected from a team that is battling for their playoff lives, as St. Louis are doing. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that chippiness happening now.
Certainly
more yellow cards.
This is right. We'll see about that, but you're right, Gary. This is what Bob Lilly prescribed. He knew the intensity would come into play from St. Louis.
Yep.
But his team dealing with it nicely.
They don't back off Pittsburgh. They're not scared. They get stuck in, and so they'll match fire with fire.
That boot will go for a St. Louis throw-in. They'll take quickly. Dispossessed. What a move there, but couldn't hold on to it. It was Forbes. Playing back into the defense. Dakers clears, but headed back in. Out of play, though, by Pittsburgh.
You can see that good high-pressure game from Pittsburgh, forcing the quick play out the back, trapping St. Louis in there, making it extremely difficult for them to get out. And now possession lost yet again.
Here's Feo turning around, trying to gain possession. Too many Pittsburgh bodies, though, in the way. He's out and out of the far sideline there by Pittsburgh. They'll slow it down. Playing the possession game once again, but rifling that ball outside of the pitch. Controlled again by Pittsburgh. Here comes an attack. There comes a shot, but that one dealt with nicely by Fenlison. Not too much danger there.
No, not at all. The shot in the end barely reaching. The goalkeeper, body behind the ball, just scoops it up nice and easy. But it shows you the intention of Pittsburgh. The execution wasn't great, but the idea was. And they're going to keep putting pressure on St. Louis. And make it very difficult for the home side to get whatever points they're going to get here tonight. But then that's why Pittsburgh are top of the table. They don't give you anything easily. Such a tough team to beat.
Here comes Pittsburgh once again, but fighting for it there is Hilton. He will get a whistle, though. Not happy about that one. Once again, the intensity continues to ramp up.
Lewis Hilton saying that Kevin Kerr dived. Sure, Kevin Kerr feels differently, so does the referee. Free kick given. A little word to Lewis Hilton, perhaps a little warning. Let's have a look at it again closely. Does he get the ball? No, he doesn't. He just nips at his ankles. So, yep, correct decision by the referee. But not a yellow card, I wouldn't think, and I'd be very surprised to see the referee gave one. No, he doesn't, which is quite right. Nothing nasty about that, just a slightly mistimed tackle. Game goes on.
Lewis Hilton coming off a 2-goal performance midweek. Bagged the brace on Wednesday. His team fell, though, against Loudoun United on the road in dramatic fashion. That 4th goal from Loudoun, the game winner, came right at the death of stoppage time. They'd love that drama to go the other way if it comes around this time. St. Louis would love to get a late winner this evening. It's a dangerous delivery and a lot of bodies out in front of the goal. Bodies on the ground as well.
I think that's Joe Greenspan yet again who nearly gets on the end of something, but there's been a clash of heads. I hope that they're all okay. Bodies strewn all over the way. Greenspan's up. It's the bodies in white that I'm concerned about. Hopefully there's no bad damage, but commitment from both sides. Greenspan goes in, takes out a couple of white shirts with him. Not quite sure who that was that went down there, but we'll find out in a moment or two.
He had a player draped across his right arm as he went down. Not sure what's hurting for him, but happy to see him get up.
That's Caleb Calvert. Bravery there. He was on the end of a whack. Always worrying when it hits the neck and the head area. So great to see him up and about. He's going to have to come off the pitch just for a little breather before he's let back on again. But that's the commitment you get. He's saying there was an elbow. Difficult to see if there was, but Joe Greenspan getting over the back and committing himself to the header. He took out 2 white shirts in the process. So we said there'd be drama second half, and so far 10 minutes in, there's been plenty of it.
Delivering on that promise so far. Fenlison in goal tonight for St. Louis, rallying the troops. See Calvert Knight not quite ready to come back in. He's coming on now. So back to full strength, St. Louis FC. To the near sideline now, Pittsburgh. Here comes across that one. You see another body go down. Nico Brett went down. Not sure about any contact there.
It's difficult for the referee. He can't give it just because he sees bodies go down. He's got to see a trip. Otherwise, he's never going to give that. And Kevin Kerr once again with the ball whipped in from out wide.
Oh, there's a dangerous shot, but right to the keeper. The velocity on that looked dangerous, but sent it right to Fenlison.
Yeah, Duba with the strike there, and Fenderson body behind the ball. Good pair of hands. Make sure there's no danger from that. Now again, high pressure. Forces him to knock it long.
That time intercepted there by St. Louis. Makes a move, and free kick coming for Pittsburgh. Going to the book once again. Crowd not happy about it.
It's Camden Feo with, I think, a handball there. Just reached out his hand as he was lying on the ground. I'm assuming that's what the free kick was given for. So that's 3 St. Louis players on yellow cards. Have a look here, watch him. He's going to now fall to the ground. There, just think he put a hand out. So 3 players on yellows. Got to be very careful, St. Louis.
Bradley Camden Feo goes to the book. Fighting for it outside the box now. Headed away. And a St. Louis throw to come as they'll try and reverse their fortunes here. Is some danger in the Pittsburgh attack moments ago.
Just wonder now if Anthony Pulis, as we come to the 60th minute mark, is just beginning to wonder if some fresh legs will help. Master Cachet would be one that I would think would come on and dribble. Kyle Gregg would be another, so we'll keep an eye on the manager and see if he's going to make any decisions.
Kyle Gregg, one of those changes. We were a little surprised not to see him in the starting 11 tonight. They're fighting for it, and pleased for a free kick, not rewarded. Now the whistle does come.
Frustrations are rising. We talked about the drama, and we talked about more yellow cards and potentially worse. Referee John Freeman's going to have a difficult next 30 minutes or so on his hands, I would predict.
Challenge is to keep everyone's intensity down now to a manageable level. Long delivery to the far sideline there by Pittsburgh. Will race to try to keep that one on the pitch. Cleared, but off a yellow jersey, so a throw-in coming for St. Louis.
Good luck keeping intensities down when there's a playoff place on the line, just saying.
Camden Feo, who has been put in the book, was coming off a suspension midweek for yellow cards, so he's no stranger to getting booked, Gary.
He's not, yeah, he missed it with the collection of 5 yellow cards, I think it was, that put him out. He's a tough player, but there's tough players on both these sides here. It's about just being clever enough not to make a silly tackle. That's what you got to pick.
So as the St. Louis attack was building, Lewis Hilton went down, but a whistle.
It's against Lewis Hilton, I think. Anthony
Yes.
Pulis is fed up.
He's not happy, so a free kick for Pittsburgh on the way.
Let's have a look again and just see Anthony Pulis calling the fourth official and saying, explain to me what happened. Let's have a look here. He gets the ball and then trips the player. Now he's saying he was tripped before he got the ball. Referee's saying, no, I saw you get the ball and fall down and then trip the opposition player. This is where the tensions are going to be high. The next 30 minutes, managers, players, fans, everyone's going to be fighting tooth and nail to try and get St. Louis into the playoffs.
Played into the box there by Pittsburgh. A chance now at a shot from outside the area, but goes off a white jersey. Now for a delivery inside, headed away. Here come Riverhounds once again controlling that attack. Forced to play it back though. Good hustle. Losing control there in the midfield. Forbes controlling now. He sends it inside the box, but headed away. Sent outside the box.
See how Pittsburgh keep picking up that loose ball around the box. They keep the pressure on.
Here comes the cross. Chasing it down now to try and make something happen. Wrestled down to the turf and now dribbling out the back, St. Louis. Open space. Reversing field there is Cicerone. Now on that high right side, sending it into a dangerous area, but a lot of yellow bodies in, and there comes the dispossession and the clearance.
Good defending from Pittsburgh. They got those bodies back very, very quickly, shut them down. And Lewis Hilton's complaining he got bumped off the ball. But we saw a great counter-attack there from Cicerone down that left-hand side, so Lewis will be looking for more from him. Bob Lilly now upset as well, so both managers upset. Both sets of players getting tense.
That's what we like to see. The intensity is building up.
I just saw Kyle Gregg there, so maybe that substitution is going to happen.
That could be. Now a free kick coming for Pittsburgh. Fans, become one of us. Season tickets for 2020 are on sale now. There's nothing like an evening at the soccer park. Reserve your seats now.
It's a free kick there. Joe Greenspan coming over the top of Caleb Calvert. Referee deeming that to be a foul. Maybe we are going to see that change. Here we go.
Here goes well. So Kyle Gregg is coming in for Calvert. The substitution is brought to you by Cigna. First change made there by St. Louis FC. Thought it might come at any moment there from Anthony Pulis, and here it is.
Yeah, fresh legs on. Caleb Calvert's fought hard. He's battled. He's been defending most of the game. We haven't seen too much of him up front. It's a pat in the back from his manager. And now Kyle Gregg with 7 goals this season. Let's see if he can get the breakthrough for St. Louis.
One of the team leaders there for St. Louis. Need his boot to come up big here as we within the final half hour of this match. See if it's Hilton going to take this one. Right off ahead on the wall. That volley goes over the top.
Well, Lewis Hilton scored from a free kick in a similar position, but on the right-hand side against Loudon midweek. Fantastic strike over the wall in the top corner. That time it didn't work.
Yeah, the one midweek was certainly a highlight reel tally. He was looking for that again there, but this time not meant to be.
Yeah, it's Robbie Mertz. I think he took the ball to the head from the free kick, and he's just feeling a bit dizzy. And in that situation, you've got to stop the play. Check for concussion protocol and anything else. You can't take any risks with head injuries.
Certainly not.
I think he's all right. He's tough. He's going to just take the knock, pick himself up, and continue.
Good pace here in the second half so far. Really picked up, Gary, since the first half where neither team came largely out of their shell in the first 45 minutes, and certainly from St. Louis you see that urgency building.
Yeah, I think St. Louis were a little bit worried that against this fantastic Pittsburgh side, if they went at them, they could concede 2 or 3 first half. So they just wanted to keep it tight, come in at 0-0. I think slowly now St. Louis are going to have to start taking just a few more risks if they want to bag all 3 points.
St. Louis sending it up the pitch now. Off ahead, but back to Morton.
That's Kyle Gregg. That's what he's good at, winning those little high balls, and Tyler Blackwood's going to have to feed off him. Going to have to get on alongside Kyle Gregg and look just to pick up any knockdowns.
You mentioned in the first half, Gary, that St. Louis can get a goal tonight. I don't think they're worried about how pretty it is, just get that. But here's an attack by Pittsburgh. Out wide now, the delivery, and that one is knocked away. St. Louis able to clear.
Oh, absolutely. This is all about the result for St. Louis tonight. For Pittsburgh, different story. They're top of the table. They want to play good football. They want to keep their sort of style going. They want to keep their winning run going. All those good things. For St. Louis, it's just about 3 points. It can be a deflection. It can come off the referee's head for all they care, as long as they can put 3 points in the bag today.
So Camden Feo is going to take the throw in. Couldn't quite get control there. It did stay in bounds, though. Still straddling that line, and we throw in coming for St. Louis.
Yeah, Tyler Blackwood was asking for a corner. He said the ball crossed the line, and he's now appealing to the linesman. But not given, so it's a throw in. Who'd want to be a coach? Looking at the face of Anthony Pulis there, the stress he must be under. It's been a wonderful season in the Cup. It still ended up being a very close one in terms of making the playoffs.
Certainly so. There comes a cross, and wow, that one got to a dangerous area, but sent away by Pittsburgh. A more offensive approach now is St. Louis. 22+ minutes to work with to try and take all 3 points here tonight. Love to do that at home. Final home game of the season. A little more chippiness there down low, involving Kyle Gregg, but a free kick coming now for Pittsburgh.
It's going to be Kyle's job, you would think, for the next 20 minutes or so. Get in the faces of the Pittsburgh defenders, rough them up a little bit, try and force errors. He's got the energy, and he needs to impress his manager. Didn't get chosen to start the match, so the best way to impress the manager going forward is to score the all-vital goal.
Cleared out of trouble, but headed back to Pittsburgh there. The far sideline. Send it back to the defense. And back to Morton. Morton sends it beyond the half line, but couldn't keep that one in bounds. Tonight's match is brought to you in part by Maryville University. Score the winning goal at Maryville with personalized education, nationally ranked academics, and Division II athletics. Learn more at maryville.edu. Now St. Louis with numbers, but just fanning on that pass, losing control.
Tyler Blackwood, such a good play. I mean, he scored 6 in 11 games. He's the informed St. Louis player, totally missing that pass, and they can't afford to do that, St. Louis. They're not going to get many opportunities to attack Pittsburgh. When they do, they can't be mispassing the ball.
It's Pittsburgh again, playing it out to the near sideline. Nico Brett faking the cross. He sends it back now near midfield. Attack building again now for Pittsburgh. 71st minute of this match. Here comes a dangerous ball, but cleared away by St. Louis out of trouble. Ooh, had a clashing of heads there.
This is not looking good.
Not at all.
Kyle Gregg went down. It was such commitment. We said he was going to go for the ball, and he certainly threw himself there, but that is very, very worrying. That's a huge clash between Thomas Pratzner and Kyle Gregg. We hate to see that. It's always such a worrying thing when players rush to other players' side.
Both players getting looked over now. See the replay, Gary.
I think Kyle Gregg gets the worst of it. I think he gets knocked out completely. Pratzner gets there, but Gregg, look at him. He just hits the deck, and he is out.
That is tough to see. I mean, Gregg, when he came on around the 64th minute, has been a spark plug fighting for those 50-50s, but that was a tough clashing of heads, and you're right, Gary, he got the worst of it.
And it was his commitment. Pratzner was already just slightly ahead of him. They're saying Pratzner's got to come off. He's been hit. But Kyle Gregg's more of a worry because...
Now, Pratzner already sitting up. Kyle Gregg still laying prone.
And he's got some of his teammates. I think Sean Reynolds is down there talking to him and very worried. And it's one of the most concerning parts, I think, of any sport. I guess American football would be similar, but anything to do with the head and concussion, and you just worry for the safety of the players. So first things first, let's just hope that Kyle Gregg gets up and that he's okay. It looks like Pratzner's fine. But the medical staff don't want to take any chances. Well, that's good. That's a good sight. To see Kyle Gregg up, that's a really good sight.
Getting a nice round of applause there from the home fans. Teammates relieved to see him sit up as well.
And they're saying substitute him. They're going to take him off. Both players look as if they have to get off for concussion protocols and just to be on the safe side.
50-50 we're hearing on the field, so I don't think either player will be
sanctioned for that. I think Pratzner got there just ahead of Kyle Gregg, but in those situations I don't think you give yellow cards or anything. That the players just, they were genuinely going for the ball, both of them.
Yeah.
But it looks like both are going to be substituted.
Yeah, bang play on that 50-50 as you see. Nice round of applause as well for Pratzner, who walks off, and Kyle Gregg, who's tied for the team lead with 7 on the season, hoping to find number 8. Unfortunate to see his night cut short after being subbed on in the 64th minute.
And the players around him are saying, no, take him off, because I'm sure he wants to play on. He's brave as a lion, and he's super committed to the cause, but even his teammates are saying, no, coach, get him off. Or to the medical staff, get him off. We can't take that sort of risk from someone who looked like he was knocked out the way he went down.
Yeah.
You would think that he was out for a little while, and his teammates appreciate his commitment to the cause, but they'd rather see him safe.
I think sometimes in those spots you have to protect the player from himself, because you're right, Kyle Gregg is a gamer, Kyle Gregg is a competitor. He would love to score that opening goal, but in this case his safety is first and foremost. So I'm happy to see him come off and certainly get that concussion protocol and the attention that he deserves.
Absolutely. His safety, players' safety always comes first, and looks like Oscar Umar is going to come on, and the players all get together in a huddle there, St. Louis, and they know that the remaining sort of 17, 18 minutes is massive for their season.
Substitution brought to you by Cigna, as you see Umar coming on for the banged up Kyle Gregg. Substitution as well there for Pittsburgh coming on. Rivera replacing Pratzner. Substitution brought to you by Cigna. So both of the players who took that knock, Gary, have made way for substitutions.
That was a huge knock. There's no question that you can't take risks with any of that. So well done to the medical staff. And we said there'd be drama second half, and we've been spot on so far. Well, Bob Lilly said it. Let's give him the credit. He said there's going to be drama when there's so much on the line. And there certainly has been, but none of it's been nasty. I think that's the point we have to make clear. This has all just been pure commitment and fighting for the cause.
Well, now, Gary, out of necessity, St. Louis' second sub has been used. How might that affect Anthony Poulos' strategy moving forward over the final 25-plus minutes?
Well, Oscar Umar is a midfield player, so you're losing a striker and a good header of the ball for a midfield player. You might push Cicerone a little bit more forward because he's a good attacker. So probably find Cicerone and Blackwood up front, Oscar Umar strengthening that midfield. And it's going to be a drop ball, which is basically the referee saying nobody was to blame. It was just good commitment from both sides, and we start with a 50-50 drop ball.
Handled well there by John Freeman. You could hear on the pitch saying 50-50, no one at fault on that one. It's now back to the defense and back to the keeper, Morton, for Pittsburgh. Alex Dono alongside Manchester United legend, former goalkeeper, Gary Bailey. What have you made of the keepers so far tonight?
Yeah, they haven't had too much to do, to be fair. Kyle Morton very, very confident in the air. One misjudged outside the box, as we see another free kick. And Oscar Umar said something which is never a wise thing to do. And the referee is going to have a word with him. Don't talk yourself into the book. Never a clever thing to do. You've already got 3 St. Louis players on yellow cards. So, yeah, both goalkeepers haven't had too much. I've got a funny feeling that last 10 minutes, though, we might see some action from the keepers.
Oh, nearly had it on cue, but headed away there by St. Louis. Certainly it seems to work out that way. 2 saves for St. Louis on the volley there. That one bounces out of play. Maybe for a corner. Couldn't see who got the last touch on that one. I believe it's going to be a goal kick for Fenlison.
I'm not in touch with what's happening with Kyle Gregg, but once again, just to wish him a speedy recovery. And of course, also Pratzner on the other side. He was extra worried when it's a head injury, so we trust that both of them have no sort of further ill effects.
Certainly always happy to see both players walk off the pitch on their own power, but who knows what they're feeling right now. Dangerous ball in the box, but couldn't get a clean shot on it there. Was Dos Santos. That was a dangerous opportunity, but sending that one wide to the left.
It was a little half chance, wasn't it, for the big man and Duba in the center there. Canado Forbes just setting it up. What a nice early ball from Nico Brett. And Duba gets the strike, but it's just under his feet. He can't pull it out. And Nico Brett was running in, so if he got it on target, the keeper parries it. Nico Brett was there. It just shows you once again, Pittsburgh, so good in attack, always causing problems, so it's difficult to know which way this game is going to go in the final 12 minutes or so.
Always dangerous. Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. St. Louis, though, now looking to turn the tables and get the opening goal. Running to that, some contact out front, and no whistle. Referee says play on. Crowd voicing their displeasure for that decision not to blow the whistle.
They called the referee and said, "You're horrible." If that's the worst you get called as a referee, it's a good night.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's been called a lot worse.
I appreciate their restraint, if nothing else. Very polite night out there for the Luligans and company in St. Louis. Telling the official how they feel without getting too nasty.
Yeah.
Throw in coming for Pittsburgh.
Crucial 10 minutes or so for St. Louis and their fans. Of course, you're going to have Birmingham Legion fans watching and Charleston Battery, hoping that they don't get any points here tonight. But for the St. Louligans, they'll be desperate to at least get one, if not all 3.
Yeah, this time of the season with a couple matches remaining for everyone, get a lot of scoreboard watching. There's a little miscue outside the box as St. Louis able to recover, but Pittsburgh intercepting and taking back control from the back. Possession once again for Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. To the far sideline. Back to Forbes. He sends the long ball out towards the right and finds a man out front. Here comes a delivery. That ball goes a little wayward. Headed away nicely by St. Louis. Sends it out for a throw-in.
It's good pressure from Pittsburgh. You're away from home. You're against a team who are desperate for points in the playoff position, and yet you're still able to keep possession and put dangerous crosses in the box.
Ooh! Fenlison gets caught out, and what a block out front, but was there a handball? That's what Pittsburgh is pleading for. Unbelievable defensive play, no whistle. Tremendous block there. Keeper was beaten. St. Louis holds on to this scoreless tie.
Well, that was a fantastic, I think it was Kavita on the line there. That was a brilliant piece of defending to keep that one from going out of the goals.
What a play by Kavita. Putting his body on the line there. Went down hard after blocking that shot.
I think Jake Fenderson comes out for the cross and doesn't get there and puts his defense in all sorts of trouble. But again, Pittsburgh, so dangerous in attack.
Pittsburgh nearly had the opening goal, but with 10+ minutes, we remain scoreless. Delivery inside the area, again a dangerous ball, but Dos Santos can't track it down.
Nico Brett with the cross, and Kevin Kerr gets the header. But let's have a look at this moment here. The ball goes into the box, knocked up here. Goalkeeper comes, can't get there. Ball drops and gets struck. It looks like off his face of Kavita. Absolutely brilliant. The shot from Duba. And that is wonderful defending from Kavita.
Well done, right place, right time. Great body positioning on that, and now St. Louis with speed. Many Pittsburgh bodies, though, dispossessed once again, but a free kick coming.
This is a free kick where maybe it's close enough to... Oh, he's just saying, well done. Duba's just exactly saying that to Kavita. I thought that was going in the back of the net. Fantastic defending. And they're having a smile. Wonderful. Wonderful to see that sort of camaraderie and chat. But now it's a free kick for St. Louis. Why not just launch it into the box, see if you can find the likes of Kavita, see if you can score from the free kick.
Could be what Hilton looks to do here. Getting into a dangerous spot. Everyone lining up. They love to get ahead on that one. See Kavita, whose face is apparently recovered from that big block shot minutes ago. Try to put the forehead to good use this time, not the face. There's the delivery prescribed by Gary Bailey. Still dangerous out front. Collected there by Morton.
For a moment, like Kavita had been tripped from behind, but he didn't appeal, he didn't go down, he just got himself up.
It's usually the first sign that the contact wasn't there, right? When the player doesn't appeal for it?
Yeah, but many players will appeal whether there's contact or not. He didn't.
Fair.
Yeah, he got up and said, no, I wasn't tripped, I'm getting up and I'm playing on. So, honourable play there from the captain, Daniel Kavita.
Throw-in coming for Pittsburgh. See the respect being shown from both sides. They know this is really turning into an excellent match down the stretch.
At this point, if it is going to be a point for St. Louis, we'll put them 3 ahead of Birmingham Legion, and it might just be enough to see St. Louis through to the playoffs.
Laying it out wide there, chasing it down with speed, can't get to it, goal kick coming.
The problem for St. Louis is if you push too many bodies up, you could end up losing this match and losing the point that you've worked so hard to get so far. Having said that, if you do attack and you get the goal, you get 3 points, not 1. So it's a difficult one to know what you should do. My guess is they're going to sit tight with the 1 point they've got, because there's no guarantee that Birmingham Legion or Charleston Battery win any of their games, so this point could be vital.
Certainly have to wonder, Gary, how much stoppage time will be in store for, as you did have an injury to both sides, have had a physical, lot of whistles here in the second half. We could be in for a thrilling conclusion even beyond the 90 minutes.
Well, that's what happened in Loudon, and it was a 93rd minute winner against St. Louis. I don't think they won too much added time.
Noah Frankie coming on for Jordan Dover. This substitution is brought to you by Cigna. So second sub being used by Bob Lilly, head coach there of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Both teams with 1 sub remaining now. Final 10 minutes or so, let's say, of this second half. Clearance there, well won there by Pittsburgh. See if they can turn up that pressure once again, sending that ball down wide. This time the 50-50 is won there by Kavita. His teammate able to keep it in, avoid the corner. Throw in near the corner coming up for Pittsburgh. '85th minute now. Good intensity here in this second half. Both teams fighting for 3 points. Tremendous support by the Luligans, the supporting section in St. Louis. Final home game for St. Louis FC. Crowd giving them the send-off they deserve. That ball played a little bit too far, and taking no chances there is Fenlison.
The way Fenlison went down, that's generally what you do when you're trying to work the clock down. You just catch it and fall on the ground. So it seems like St. Louis are happy with the point. I guess the fans will be as well. The fans are happy no matter what happens.
Yeah,
wonderful fans.
Any point has been hard to come by against Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Especially with some of the danger they've been in this match. You think about that unbelievable block we saw from Kavita earlier in the second half. They've easily been down 1-0 in this game. Attack building once again, but good defensive play still collected there by Pittsburgh.
Conrado Forbes, the number 11, has been so good. He's such a fabulous player. In fact, Bob Lilly talking about how wonderful a player he is. He says he's one of the best, if not the best, in the USL Championship.
Tremendous box-to-box midfielder. Clearance there by St. Louis. That one's going to go out for a Pittsburgh throw on midfield.
He's very creative, Conrado Forbes. That's what he's got, this ability to open up defenses and find opportunities. And I think one of the top assist players in the entire USL. So ideal player to have in your side, and Bob Lilly very grateful to have him in his team.
You know, foot race for it as Dos Santos able to head it down, but going to go out for a Pittsburgh corner coming up. So still pressure, big opportunity coming for Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC.
St. Louis fans will be thinking back to Loudon in the 93rd minute when the winner was scored against them. So they're not going to rest until this match is over.
Their substitution brought to you by Cigna as Mark Forrest is coming in for Kevin Kerr. So final substitution taken by Bob Lilly.
Kevin Kerr, such a good player. Decent game by him, but Forrest has scored in one of the recent matches. And fresh legs on for Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Corner kick to come, brought to you by Electro Savings. That one dangerous and huge save, and it finds the back of the net. Couldn't get the follow-up, and Dos Santos, the goal scorer there. Wow, 88th minute, Gary. Number 8 finds the back of the net, and Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC takes the 1-0 lead.
It's happened again for St. Louis, conceding a goal in the dying moments. This is horrendous for their fans and their supporters from a set piece. And they have won a lot of headers, to be fair, in that box. In fact, it was Greenspan yet again who won the header. It's the third time this match he's had a free header. Keeper makes the first save, comes back, and Duba knocks it in the back of the net. They've got the goal, Pittsburgh, which you've got to be fair, they have been knocking on that door, but how tough for St. Louis to concede with just minutes left on the clock.
Think about how dangerous Duba's head has been throughout this match. Was able to get that juicy rebound right onto the forehead to put it into the back of the net. So jubilation now for Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC as St. Louis is running out of time here, Gary, to tie up this match and salvage a point.
For me, the big question is who's marking Joe Greenspan. That's the third time he has had a free header in the box from a corner. And eventually someone's going to score if they keep getting free headers. The first one, Lewis Hilton managed to somehow, along with a post, to keep that out. The second one he did score, well, a goal came from it, but they were ruled out for some reason we're not quite sure about. So eventually they get the goal that I would reckon they deserve.
We'll soon find out how much stoppage time is added on, and every minute is going to be so critical. Every second will be so critical for St. Louis FC.
That's the question now. What can they do? I see Sam Fink warming up at the bottom there. So for St. Louis now, that's it. Just get forward. That's exactly what Jake Finlayson's saying. Everybody up. Let's just throw it forward and see what we can get.
Finlayson with that deep delivery. They'll be high up the pitch now. Will St. Louis. That throw-in, though, is to be going the way of Pittsburgh. St. Louis not too happy about that. Dying stages here of regulation. Here comes the final substitution.
Gaia Bend coming off, Sam Fink coming on. I just wonder where they're going to play Sam Fink, whether they're actually going to just chuck him up front and say, right. In fact, they might do that because with Carl Gregg going off, you would think Sam Fink would be an ideal target man.
Substitution was brought to you by Cigna. All subs used now by both teams. 7 minutes of added time coming, Gary. We knew it would be substantial. Stoppage time is presented by Paycor. Need more time in your business? Contact Paycor to handle your payroll and human resources needs. So how does Anthony Poulos' team now handle these final 7 minutes at home, final 7 minutes of their season here at Soccer Park?
We can see Sam Fink has gone up into that striker's role, so he's going to be their target man. All they're going to do is knock it long, try and put it on his head and feed off the knockdowns. That's what Lewis Hilton is saying. Give me the ball. I want to knock it long. I want to knock it quick. I'm even getting caught up on my words here. That's the excitement and drama that Bob Lilly promised us, and we've certainly had in the second half.
Certainly so. So free kick coming for Hilton and St. Louis. Wearing all white today. Is about 6 minutes left here. Love to come away with at least 1 point tonight. They still have the opportunity to do so. Hilton again rifles a ball down the center, but headed nicely away by Pittsburgh. He took a knock, and free kick coming now for Riverhounds.
Adewole knocked over, and as you say, free kick given, and they're going to be in no rush. I wouldn't have thought Pittsburgh to take this. And now their job, being 1-0 up, is to try and wind down the clock. And for St. Louis, it's just to somehow get that ball back up the other end of the pitch and see if they can get something to work with, a set piece, a corner, anything.
Another whistle blows, this time a free kick coming for St. Louis.
You've got to give Pittsburgh credit. They've come to this ground, which I think only Lou City have won here in this entire season. They're 1-0 up. They've been bashed. St. Louis have got at them, and they haven't wilted at all, have Pittsburgh, and they've got the goal from a set piece. They really have put in a professional performance.
Who was sent into the box, but couldn't find a teammate here to put that one home. Throw in coming. You think about the midweek defeat that St. Louis suffered, the drama that came in the dying stages. They would like to be the team now creating the drama. It was Loudoun United who got the goal at the death to defeat St. Louis. They'd love to get a game-tying goal here in the dying stages. Lunging for it, delivery into the area. Looks like Morton is going to get that. He gets knocked over. Free kick coming. Ball finds the back of the net, but I think everyone in the crowd cheering knows that one's not going to count.
No, there's no question about that. The goalkeeper taken out as he was about to catch it, so it's always going to be a free kick. And to me, it's almost a silly free kick. You know, rather let the goalkeeper try and catch it. Maybe he drops it, maybe something happens, but to just hit him in midair is to give away the free kick. But there's still minutes left, and you're right, they would love to get something out of this game with some drama at the end. Because if St. Louis lose yet another game with a late goal, it's going to be heartbreaking for them and their fans.
Certainly so. It's been a trying week for a team looking to hold on to a playoff spot. Pittsburgh's so tough to break down defensively. Now playing down the sideline. Free kick coming for Pittsburgh.
Cicerone frustrated, but he took out Noah Frankie. And yeah, you can see Anthony Pulis having a few words there. He's frustrated. He can't believe it. Yet again, they put in a good performance, and yet again, it looked like they're going to come away with nothing.
So there you see Nico Brett puts it off St. Louis, but throw-in coming now was out of bounds. In the final 3 minutes here of stoppage time.
This is tough. This is the final home match of the season, and in fact, having lost their last home match to Lou City 1-0, this is what the St. Louligans are going to remember, 2 home defeats, and it's an unfair memory of what's been a great season at home, otherwise undefeated if you exclude these last 2 home matches, and great cup performances.
I'm sure you'll see St. Louis playing it up the pitch, hoping to find a body out front. Desperate to find that game-tying goal.
Yeah, Carl Morton waiting to the last moment to pick that ball up, which he's entitled to do. Knocking it long.
In the final 2 minutes now.
I think looking at this Pittsburgh side, you've got to give them a lot of credit. They've come into the Lions' den here today, and at this moment in time, they're leaving with all 3 points.
Hilton gets knocked over. He earns a free kick. Duba's going to be shown the yellow. Big chance coming up for St. Louis FC. The crowd is getting into it. Big delivery here is essential.
He's done well, Duba, hasn't he? Steven Dos Santos takes the yellow card there. Had his lip smashed earlier in the match. He's had shots kicked off the line. And eventually he scored the goals. He's had a fantastic night all in all. Now, you're right, this could be the last chance. Can they do it, St. Louis?
Lewis Hilton would love to find a teammate out front. Here's the delivery, sends it wide. Morton flying through, that one knocked away, but St. Louis regains control here within about the final minute of stoppage time. Ball sent in, and Morton gloves that down. Here comes that time wasting you were talking about, Gary. We'll take every second of this possible. Will Morton, who rolls it out to a teammate.
And it's a great cross to come and take, as he's done all matches. He's so good in the air. Kyle Morton comes and gets the punch under pressure, comes and catches the ball under pressure, kills the momentum that was going in St. Louis's direction. And that might be enough for them to walk away, Pittsburgh, with all 3 points.
Fighting for it in the area, but Duba with the big time clearance, going to go all the way back to Fenlison. Trying to rally his troops. He's going to rifle it up the pitch one more time. A lot of white jerseys out front. Paddling for it there is Camden Feo. Nice switch up, but it's in a way of a yellow jersey, and here comes the rush down. Could this be one final scoring chance for Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC? And dealt with there on a little bit of a weak shot there to Fenlison.
It was a good run from Noah Frankie all the way down the pitch. He's got fresh legs. They just couldn't catch him. But that's it.
That's the final whistle.
Oh, drama.
Heartbreak again for St. Louis FC as Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC takes the 1-0 decision. They take all 3 points on the road, Gary, and break everything down when we come back. 1-0 your final score. Alex Dono alongside Gary Bailey will be back. Let's take a look at our man of the match, Gary. Excuse me, we'll keep it right here. Lewis Hilton, man of the match, is brought to you by Pleats.
Well, it's a very frustrated man of the match. You could see him just sort of having a few words of frustration. Played well, and not much he could do about it. He thought he'd done enough to get at least 1 point, and in the end, Duba's goal just robbed St. Louis of anything, and now it's going to go down to the final match away at North Carolina for Anthony Pulis and the rest of his team.
Yeah, well played, hard fought there by St. Louis FC. Our final score, Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC defeats St. Louis FC 1-0. Our final score is brought to you by Edward Jones. Now we'll take a break and we'll break down everything when we return. Alex Dono alongside Gary Bailey. We'll be back. Final score presented by Edward Jones. More drama at the finish. St. Louis FC falls to Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC by a final score of 1-0. Alex Dono alongside Gary Bailey. A pleasure to bring this one in. Gary, let's take a look at our full-time highlights from this match.
Yeah, there were more highlights in the second half than the first. The first was one or two little moments here. Good ball whipped in. It's going to come out. Some scramble around the edge of the box, and it's going to be Kadeem Dakers who tries a little over the top shot. Doesn't quite catch Carl Morton off his line. The idea was good. Execution nearly good. And that was one of the few chances going to the home side for Pittsburgh. A couple of free headers, and this is one of 3 free headers we're going to see for Joe Greenspan. Knocked off the line by Lewis Hilton and the post combined. Who was marking him? It looked like Caleb Calvert in that example, but we're going to see more from Joe Greenspan later. Nice little counter attack here. Goalkeeper sells himself a little bit, Carl Morton, but then recovers to stop Cicerone's shot.
Not sure if that was a shot or a cross, but...
Well, cross, you're right, 100% right. He was trying to get the ball back in. Goalkeeper does well, makes up for his error.
Whatever it was, didn't work out, and Gary, in the second half, we really saw the intensity pick up with Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC, and the man who was responsible for a lot of those scoring chances was Druba.
Druba, yeah, just wide there, and we're going to see more and more pressure coming. This ball goes up. Now, the goalkeeper goes for it, Finlayson. It goes loose. That is fantastic defending on the line from Kavita, throwing his body on the line. Druba once again with the effort, and in the face of Kavita, but keep an eye on Joe Greenspan. He gets up, it's another free header. Goalkeeper makes a save. Druba's the quickest to respond. They get the goal. A goal well deserved, but a heartbreaker for St. Louis. And that is what separates the two teams and leaves St. Louis without any points.
Heartbreaker indeed, and what a second half played by Druba. So many scoring chances, it felt deserved that he would be the Pittsburgh Riverhound to score, and unbelievable stuff there. Let's take a look, Gary, at the live standings in the Eastern Conference. What does St. Louis have to do now to preserve that playoff spot?
Well, first thing, they've got to hope that Birmingham Legion and Charleston Battery don't win their games in hand, because then they would go above St. Louis and take them out of the playoff positions. But if Birmingham draw, or put it this way, if they don't win, St. Louis remain ahead. So those 2 points they have in their hands, they are absolutely crucial. They might still see them into the playoffs, but it's getting very dicey, and their last match is away against North Carolina.
For Gary Bailey, I'm Alex Dono, giving you our final score for the final time. Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC defeat St. Louis SC at Soccer Park 1-0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.